Well, just a few minutes ago, I read online that Jane Goodall has passed away. She was a very well known primatologist studying chimpanzees. And if you read the news report announcing her death, then they all say, well, she was so famous because she has changed the way that we humans look at chimpanzees. And I have to slightly disagree. I think she was so well known because she actually did something much more fundamental. She has changed the way that we humans look at ourselves. Yeah, this was in the 1960s. She was actually the one who has discovered that chimpanzees also use tools, not just humans. At that time, the use of tools was considered to be, a very human characteristic. And then, essentially, when she texted her discovery that she observed graybeard, that's the name of the chimpanzee. She's given the chimps names. When she observed that graybeard actually used a little stick to pull out termites from a piece of wood, when she informed Louis Leakey, he was a well-known anthropologist, when she basically informed him on that, then he famously responded, I have to read this off now, now we must redefine man, we must redefine tool, or we must accept chimpanzees as humans. Well, I think this quote already makes it quite clear that, this way, by observing that chimps use tools, this basically moved chimpanzees and humans much closer. Well, Jane Goodall, she was born in 1934. Already showed a very early interest in nature, in the environment, in environmental protection, of course, also in primates. And then when she worked, then she went to Africa, to Tanzania, quite young. She was around 26 years old. And Louis Leakey, the famous anthropologist, accepted her. And even though she did not have any formal training, and as a matter of fact, Leakey actually considered that to be an advantage. So maybe a fresh mind, and indeed, she had very unique ways of researching the chimpanzees. She basically observed them by kind of making herself one of the associating her with the group. So she did not observe the chimpanzees out of distance, but actually she participated in the group, and slowly she was accepted also as a group member among the chimpanzees. And this new way of observation actually proved to be quite groundbreaking, and she was able to make observations that indeed chimpanzees also use tools. Now, she was a little bit criticized by her new methods, and the reason is because she also decided to give the chimpanzees names, and not just numbers. This was considered to be quite unscientific at that time, but it kind of already shows a little bit that she had this very personal connection to those animals, and as a matter of fact, nowadays her research has quite is considered to be groundbreaking. But again, as I mentioned, it's probably not the actual research that she's done, but really the fact that she changed a little bit the self-perception that we have, we humans have of ourselves. You see, at that time, it was a commonly held belief that only humans are capable of rational thought, have emotions, and maybe even have a sense of empathy. But the observations of Jane Goodall changed all of that, and also demonstrated that also chimpanzees can have these characteristics. And then she also remarked, luckily I was not at university and therefore did not know all of these things. This kind of shows that maybe approaching a subject with an open mind can actually also help you discover quite new things. And sometimes if you carry along the load of a lot of knowledge and university studies, maybe this also kind of limits your perspective a little bit. I have a couple of notes here. She could not even afford university, but then later on, because of her research success, she was accepted directly into a PhD program, even though she did not have any university training before. Essentially, I would say Jane Goodall was able to address one of these three fundamental questions of humankind, which are: where do I come from, where do I go to, and who am I? And yes, essentially by kind of showing that we humans and chimpanzees are quite similar in many respects, this kind of moved yes, much closer together. However, she was also a little bit frustrated because she did not only observe the nice things, but she also could see that chimpanzees sometimes waged war. They could be very brutal, and I've got another quote from here her right now. Just to read it off. It was a very dark time for me. This was basically when she discovered that chimpanzees also wage war. It was a very dark time for me. I thought they were like us, but nicer. I had no idea of the brutality they could show. War always seemed to me to be a purely human behavior. I've come to accept that the dark, evil side of human nature is deeply embedded in our genes, inherited from our primate ancestors. It's a rather pessimistic, view, of course. But I mean, it kind of also shows a little bit that even in that respect, humans and chimpanzees, well, humans and other animals maybe, and as a biologist, have to say maybe we humans and all of nature are very closely connected in that way. And I think that is one of the big contributions also of Jane Goodall. Yeah, and what shall I say now? May she rest in peace.